Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. For props for today, a couple hard blocks and a soft block will come in handy, and then anything else you like to practice with. And I'll invite you to get started in any comfortable seated position. You can use any of the props that you have around, and if you'd rather begin on the back or somewhere else, then go for it. Find a shape that feels really comfortable. Make any adjustments that you need. Take your time to settle in whatever parts of the body are touching the floor. And then if you're with me in a seat, find a gentle rebound through the spine, keeping some softness for the shoulders. Maybe a slight tuck of the chin in towards the throat to keep the back of the neck nice and long. The hands can rest wherever they feel comfortable. And if it feels okay to close down the eyes, then go for it. Otherwise, find something unmoving to look at. And as you find your stillness and your shape, start to check in. As you check in with the body, start to notice your breath. And gently inviting your inhales and exhales to start to lengthen. And before we start to move, check in to see what would benefit you the most from your practice today. If you'd like something more energizing, you're welcome to add on and build on to the poses. And if you need something a little more gentle, then you can modify the shapes any way you need. Make the practice whatever you need it to be for today. If you're somewhere other than a seated position, you can join when you're ready. And if you're seated cross-legged, then switch the cross of the legs just to keep things even for the hips. And you might choose to remove your block. Starting with a tall spine, rotating from the base, start to move in a counterclockwise direction. You can keep the hands to the knees, and you can keep your circles relatively small. Check in with the low back, with the rest of the spine. Or as you feel ready, you might start to exaggerate the motion. You can also pause anywhere along the way. Starting to move with your breath, and taking a full round of breath for each full circle that you make. wherever you are in your circling. At the end of the next exhale, take a brief pause and then use the subsequent inhale to change direction. And this side might feel a little different to the first, so you can start small and add on as you feel ready, moving with your breath at your pace. The last few rounds this direction. And then slowly start to make your circles a little smaller. And eventually coming back up to your tall seat. From here, you can release the legs, maybe give the backs of the knees a little tap, a little windshield wiper for the feet. And then when you're ready, we'll swing the legs around, come and find a tabletop position. And taking your time to set up the hands roughly underneath the shoulders, the knees roughly underneath the hips. And then starting to flow with the breath once again. This time as you inhale, let the belly sag down, lift the heart space, lift the tailbone. And then as you exhale, curl in, chin towards the chest, press the floor away with the hands. Inhale, release the front body. And exhale, lengthen the back body. Your breath, your pace. Last few rounds here. If you need a little more time in cat-cow, then you can stay. Otherwise, separate the knees a little wider, bring the hips towards the heels, and then start to lower the chest down towards the floor for child's pose. Adding in any support that you need here. Maybe something between hips and heels or a prop for under the forehead. Arms can be reaching out in front or down to the sides or anywhere else that feels comfortable. Perhaps choosing stillness in your child's pose, or give the head a gentle rock side to side. If you like, maybe a gentle rock for the hips too. Choosing stillness for as long as you need. And when you're ready, you can extend the arms out towards the front and spread the fingers nice and wide. Gently grip the finger pads into the floor. And then pull the body up to a tabletop position and tuck the toes, lift the knees, and then press the hips up and back. We'll find downward facing dog. Maybe rocking the hips a little bit side to side. You might play with the proportions of your shape. Maybe a little more distance or a little less between the hands, between the feet. You can have as much of a bend to the knees as you need here, especially if the low back feels a little sensitive in the shape. And keep the arms and the hands pressing the floor away. And find some stability in the shoulders. Let the head be nice and heavy. And eventually find your stillness in the shape and take a few deep breaths here. And from your downward facing dog, take a deep inhale through the nose and a deep sigh out the mouth. Twice more. Last one. The next time you inhale, bend the knees deeply, look towards the top of the mat. And with your exhale, you can walk the feet towards the hands. Come and find a forward fold. And we won't stay here for long. Bring the hands to the legs. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen. Once again, sigh, this time fold. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. This time pause with the exhale, really press the feet to the floor. Lengthen tailbone to crown, and with your next inhale, come all the way up. You can add a bend to the knees, circle the arms up towards the ceiling, and then pause here. If you feel a little lightheaded, maybe catch hold of a wall. You can also come partway down and then come up when you feel ready. Keep the feet pressing to the floor. When you're ready, release the arms down to the sides. Setting your mountain pose, you can lift and spread the toes a little bit, find some distance between them. Notice where your weight is. Is it more heels or toes? See what you can do to balance that out. And then from here, as you feel ready, reach that right arm up towards the ceiling, left hand to the left hip. And take a deep inhale here, lengthen that whole right side. And then as you exhale, arc over towards the left. Inhale, come on up. The same again, exhale. Once more, and we'll pause. Inhale, lift. Exhale, arc over, and this time pause here for a few deep breaths. You can adjust where that left hand is. Make sure that the spine feels supported, and then find that stretch for the whole right side of the body. Top elbow can also bend if that's more comfortable for the shoulder. Strong core with an inhale, come all the way up, reach the right arm high, and then lower it down. If anything needs a little shakeout, then go for it. And then when you're ready, we'll set up for the second side. So left arm reaches up, right hand to the right hip. Deep inhale, lengthen, and then arc over, exhale. Inhale to lift. Exhale, stretch. Once more, and we'll pause. Inhale. Exhale. A few deep breaths here. And stretch that whole left side of the body, maybe bending the top elbow. With the feet pressing down, inhale, come all the way back up, and then release the left arm down. Give anything that needs it a little shakeout, and then come and find your stillness in your mountain pose. from your mountain pose only as you feel ready to. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. And you can flutter open the eyes. And look around, make sure you have your props nearby. And with an inhale breath, circle the arms up towards the ceiling. And with your exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. With your exhale, plant the palms and step back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Hands pressing the floor away, knees can lower for a more supportive version. And take a deep inhale. And deep exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale. One last inhale. This time lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes. 3 rounds of cobra, press the toenails down. Inhale, lift the heart space. And exhale, lower. And twice more. Last one. Inhale, press up to tabletop. And then exhale, come and find your downward facing dog. And pausing here for about 5 breaths. From your downward facing dog, as you feel ready with an inhale, lift the left leg up behind you. And then with your exhale, take a big step forward with that left foot. And then lower the right knee down to the floor. You can find your blocks, take one for each hand. If you need to pad the back foot as well, then go for it. The back knee might feel a little sensitive here. And take a moment to lengthen through the front body. And then with your exhale, send the hips back, extend the front leg any amount towards straight. And then we'll flow these shapes. Inhale, come forward. Let the pelvis dip, lift the heart. And then exhale, hips back. Maybe fold. And keep going with your breath at your pace. If there's something sticky going on in the hips, hip flexor, anywhere else, then take a moment to play around with your shape, sometimes taking the foot a little wider out or adjusting the range of motion can make it feel more accessible. Last round here. And then inhale, come forward. And pause here. If you need to reset anything, go for it. And then when you're ready, you start to raise the arms up towards the ceiling, lifting the torso up. If it feels a little wobbly, then again, you might take the left foot a few inches towards the left. A little different now. Inhale, reach up. As you exhale, twist towards the left, arms to a T. Listen to the shoulders if you need to adjust this in any way. Inhale, center, and then same side, exhale. A few more times. Two more. Last one. Inhale, reach up. And hands to your blocks. Now bring the back knee just a little bit closer and then kickstand that right foot over to the left. You can come back up now in a little bit more of a side lunge, the pelvis facing towards the side. And we're going to set up for a side stretch here. So the right knee will be roughly underneath the right hip. The left knee can stay exactly as it is, or you can extend the leg straight. So see what feels better. Take the left hand to the left hip, reach the right arm high, take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, arc over towards the front, any amount. And check in here if there's anything you need to adjust to help you feel more stable, or if there's any pinching going on in the body, then you can back out and change your shape a little bit. The top arm can stay extended, or maybe you're bending the elbow. Breathe through that whole right side. Strong belly. Inhale breath, come all the way up. And now spin that left foot down so that the toes are pointing towards that side. And then you can lower the right hand down towards the right. And setting up for a side plank, press the right hand down, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then you can stay right here. If you like, you could think about hovering the right knee, or you can send the right foot to the back of the mat to join the left. And keep the hips nice and high. Left arm can also reach up and over. Mindful of that right shoulder, that there's no pinching. Keep the hand actively pressing the floor away. And then breathe here. Last two. All right, take a deep inhale. With your exhale, bring the left hand down, send the hips back, downward facing dog. And then check in here, see where you need to be. You can stay in down dog, you can come to child's pose. You could flow if you want movement. Maybe you want to come to a kneeling shape and give that right wrist a little stretch. Be wherever you need to be. Please choose stillness here for as long as you need. And only when you feel ready, you can start to make your way to downward facing dog. There's no rush to arrive, and if you need any shape or movement along the way, then go for it. You might also take a moment to set up your props at the new top of the mat in case you need them. And then when you're ready from your downward facing dog, deep inhale, lift the right leg up behind. And then with your exhale, step that right foot forward and lower the back knee to the floor. And check in here, see if you need to add any padding for the back knee or if you need to adjust your stance. Hands can find your blocks. Inhale breath and let the pelvis dip a little bit, lift the heart space and the gaze. And then exhale breath, send the hips back, front leg can extend any amount. Inhale forward to your lunge. And exhale, half split. And keep going with your breath, your pace, and a range of motion that works for you. Last few here. Last time, inhale forward and exhale back. Inhale forward to your lunge. Adjust anything you need in your stance. And then when you're ready, you can come on up, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And again, if it's wobbly, maybe right foot a few inches to the right. Deep inhale, lengthen, and then twist towards the right as you exhale. Maybe gaze over the right hand. Inhale, center. And exhale, twist, same side. About 5 more with your breath. Final one. Inhale, reach up, and then hands can come down while you set up. Bring the back knee a little bit closer in, and then come on up here. We'll kickstand the left foot over towards the right side of the mat, setting up your side lunge. And again, you might choose to keep the front knee bent, or if it worked on the first side, maybe right leg extended. The right hand to the right hip, left hand reaches up, deep inhale, and then exhale, arc over towards the right. And this side of the body may feel quite different from the first, so please modify in any way that you need. Notice that line from the left knee all the way up to the left elbow. Imagine you could breathe there. When you're ready, inhale breath, come on up, and then turn the right toes down. Send the left hand down towards the left. Really press the floorway here, find some stability for the left shoulder. Right arm can reach up towards the ceiling. Either stay here, maybe think about hovering the left knee, or stepping the left foot to the back edge of the mat. Left hand pressing away, maybe the right arm reaches over, hips nice and high. And breathe here. And stay here. Take a deep inhale. And with your exhale, right hand comes down. Find your downward facing dog. And then see what you need. You can stay in down dog, child's pose, flow, rock pose. Maybe give yourself that wrist stretch. Be wherever you need to be for the next 8 to 10 breaths. Only when you feel ready to move again, you can think about a transition towards downward facing dog. You can also set up your props, one of your hard blocks at either end of the mat. And if you need more time in rest, or if you need any other shape, then go for it. from your downward facing dog. When you're ready with an inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. And with your exhale, step the right foot forward between the hands. Spin the left heel to the floor, left toes point towards the left. With a strong belly, you can cartwheel the arms up and we'll come and find a warrior two shape. So front foot mostly pointing towards the front, back foot mostly pointing towards the side. Take a moment to lengthen the spine here. With soft shoulders, start to reach the arms in opposite directions. Gaze can be to the side or to the front. See what feels best in the body. Awesome. And then from this shape, you can take the left hand to the left hip. With an inhale breath, reverse warrior, start to reach the right arm up and over. Maybe you're bending the elbow to catch the head. Notice if you came out of the hips here, see if you can rebend into that front knee. And then stay here for a few deep breaths. Awesome. Stay as you are with the top body. With an inhale breath, slowly extend the front leg towards straight. And then pause here with the exhale. Now inhale breath, come all the way up, start to reach forward towards the front of the room, and then hinge to find your triangle. So right hand might be to the floor, the shin, maybe to your block. Left hand might stay at the hip here, or you can reach it towards the ceiling. Imagine length from the tailbone to the crown. Keep the feet nice and active. And if you'd like more challenge here, you might think about reaching that front arm towards, or the right arm towards the front of the room. And breathe. If the front arm is lifted, then you can bring it down to the floor and take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, turn the right foot in and come to the center of the mat for a wide-legged fold. And take your time to set your feet up here. So feet mostly pointing towards the front, but you can always turn them in or out a little bit, see what works best for your hips. And then if you want to find the traditional fold here, then go for it. Otherwise, come with me for a slightly different stretch. You can start to walk the hands out in front, and at the same time, press the hips back in space. You might curl the toes up off the floor. You might also just be on fingertips and heels. Breathe into whatever stretch you're feeling. If the toes are lifted, you can slowly bring them back down to the floor, and you can walk the hands in towards the feet. Now turn the left foot towards the left. You can walk your hands towards the top, and then as you're ready, cartwheel the arms up, and we'll set up warrior two, second side. This side might feel a little different, so again, take your time to orient the feet however it feels the most stable in your body. Eventually the arms can extend, keep a little softness. Gaze can be wherever you need it to be, or maybe eyes closed down for more challenge. And keeping your warrior two legs, bring the right hand to the right hip, reach the left arm high, deep inhale, and then exhale, arc back, maybe bending the elbow to catch the head. And again, notice if you came out of that front knee, see if you can rebend it and breathe. Keeping the shape with your upper body. Inhale, slowly extend the front leg towards straight, and then pause here with the exhale. As you're ready with an inhale, unravel, reach the left arm towards the front of the room, and then exhale. You can hinge and lower for your triangle. Left hand, shin, block, or floor. Right hand you can keep at the hips, maybe reaching towards the ceiling. And if you did so on the first side, if you want a more active version of the shape, think about reaching that left arm forward. Keep the length through the spine, keep the feet actively pressing the floor away, and breathe here a few more deep breaths. All right, if the left hand is lifted, bring it down. Deep inhale. And then exhale, spin the left foot in. Bring the hands to center mat, setting yourself up for a wide-legged forward fold. And then see what forward fold you want here. You can do the same version that we did before, or you can keep the hips roughly in the same line as the feet. If you're coming with me, walk the fingertips forward, bring the weight back. Maybe curl the toes up off the floor as well. And if your weight is back, slowly bring it back in line with the feet. And you can walk your hands in and start to heel toe the feet a little bit closer together. And then pointing the toes out on an angle, start to bend the knees, sink the hips. We'll come and find a squat. And check in to see if there's anything you need to adjust here. If you want to use your heart blocks as a seat to take some pressure out of the knees, then go for it. Hands can stay down, or you can bring the hands to prayer. Gently lengthening the spine here. Notice if the shoulders are creeping up towards the ears. See if you can keep the neck nice and long. And if, like me, you have a tendency to stick the chin forward, find a slight hug of the chin in towards the throat. And maybe close down the eyes. And as you're ready, you can release one hand and then the other behind you, lowering the hips down to the floor, and give the feet a gentle windshield wiper side to side. And when you're ready, we'll set up for the next shape. So you might choose to sit up off of your soft block for this one. And we'll do a one-legged fold, but we'll start by taking the legs nice and wide apart. And then bend the right knee in, so the right foot towards the pelvis. And if your knee floats, then you might choose to support it with a prop. Left leg wherever it needs to be. And then take a moment here, lengthen up. And if this feels really effortful, you might take a little more height under the hips. And you're welcome to stay upright, or if you want to come with me for a fold, slowly start to walk the hands out in front as you hinge from the hips, leading with the chest, and then see where you end up. Perhaps there's an option to bring the elbows to the floor. You could also use your other hard block here, maybe bring the floor a little closer. You could also rest the forehead on your block or anything else that you need. Just make sure it feels like a pain-free expression. If you're feeling pinching or pain anywhere in the body, then back out and adjust until you can't feel it anymore. Slowly start to lift yourself back up. If you have a block under the right knee, you can remove it. And then you bring your hand down to the floor over on the right hand side and press down through the right hand, through that right shin. You can turn the left foot in and then lift the hips up. Press the pelvis forward. You can make this more of a back bend, more of a side stretch, maybe something in between. See what feels good here. And take a few deep breaths. And then when you're ready, you can slowly lower the pelvis back down to the floor. And release the legs for a moment. Give them a little windshield wiper. And then when you're ready, we'll set up for the second side. You can start by taking the feet nice and wide apart. And then we'll bend that left knee in this time. And this time, this side might feel a little different. So just take your time, adjust anything that you need. And the option is there if it feels better to stay upright and go for it. Otherwise, you might slowly start to hinge from the hips and then leading with the chest, start to bring yourself into your fold. Mindful of the body here. And sometimes it's something kind of unrelated to the fold that might pinch. So maybe say that left knee is pinching. You could take that leg a little bit differently. And slowly start to lift yourself back up. If you have a block under the left knee, you can remove it. Bring the left hand down to the left and press left hand, left shin, right foot into the floor. Lift the hips, reach the right arm up and over, and see what you need here. More back bend, more side stretch. Make it whatever you need it. And then when you're ready, you can release the hips back down to the floor. Bring the legs out in front and give yourself a windshield wiper, a tap. Awesome. And then as you're ready, you can swing the legs around, come up off of your prop. And keep your hard blocks nearby, maybe one on either side. And then from here, we'll lower all the way down onto the back. Once you touch down, walk the feet in so that they're roughly underneath the knees. I'm going to talk through an active bridge pose, but if you'd rather find the more restorative shape, once we lift the hips, you could slide your hard blocks underneath. Bring the elbows by the rib cage, fingertips towards the ceiling, and press the feet, the elbows, and the shoulders to the floor. And with an inhale breath, as you're ready, start to lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling. And check in as you go. You can stay right here. If you like, you can extend the arms, or you can walk the shoulder blades together, maybe interlacing the hands. Keep the feet actively pressing the floor away, the pelvis nice and high, and keep breathing here. Last few deep breaths. And if you need a little more time, you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, you can release the arms if they're interlaced and slowly start to sequence the spine back down to the floor. Once the pelvis touches down, take the feet wide, rest the knees together. Maybe the hands are somewhere on the body. And pause here for a few deep breaths. You can stay in stillness for as long as you need. When you feel ready, you can start to walk the feet in so that they're roughly underneath the knees. And then from here, wrap the left leg around the right. Scoot the hips over to the left a few inches, and then slowly let the knees come down towards the right. Maybe they'll land on your prop. And if for any reason twisting with the legs like this doesn't work, then find any alternative twist. You might extend the arms out nice and wide. You might take that left arm to the floor overhead, maybe for a little more side body stretching. And find the version of this that feels best for today. And then settle into stillness as you feel ready. And gently tone the belly and start to lift the legs back up to center. And scoot the hips to midline. And then we'll set up for the second side. So you can wrap the right leg around the left, hips towards the right, and then knees down towards the left. Making any adjustments that you need. Making this a comfortable, relaxing, softening pose. Find your stillness here as you're ready. And sometimes with shapes like these, which are a little more comfortable and a little more quiet, notice if the mind starts to wander, and if it does, gently guide your attention back to the flow of your breath, what you're experiencing in the body. Gently tone the belly, start to bring the legs back up. Unwrapping, you can send the hips to midline. Maybe taking the feet wide, give yourself a gentler windshield wiper of the knees side to side. And then check in to see if your body's asking for any last quiet shape or movement before you find your rest. And if you're ready, then you might choose butterfly for your Shavasana. Otherwise, any other comfortable symmetrical shape. If you're coming with me to butterfly, take the soles of the feet together, the knees nice and wide, and maybe a prop under either hip. Arms can be extended wherever they feel comfortable, or you can have the hands somewhere on the body, maybe on the pelvis. Give the head a gentle rock side to side. Softening any tension from the neck. And then bring it to stillness as you're ready. You might run the tongue between the teeth and the lips, top set and bottom set, to help release the jaw. And gently soften the muscles around the eyebrows, between the eyes. And let your shoulders and arms be really heavy, resting into the floor. Feel the weight of your pelvis. Feel the floor supporting it. And let the groin and leg muscles soften here. Let the legs be heavy. And soften anything you don't need. And find your rest. Gently start to deepen the breath to reawaken the body. And as you're ready, you start to introduce some small movements, wiggling the fingers and the toes. And as you're ready, you can extend the legs long down the mat. Maybe reach the arms up the mat. Give yourself a full body stretch. Pedaling the feet, wiggling the hips, rocking the head. And then rolling down onto one side, wherever you have the most room. And take a pause for a couple of breaths. With the support of the hands, gently making your way up and coming to find any comfortable seated position. Using any of your props for support. Settling the hips, gently lengthening the spine. Resting the hands wherever they feel comfortable. And take a scan through the body just to notice. You can stay right here or press the palms gently together in front of the heart. Maybe bow the chin in towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your breath and your energy today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this week's Hatha practice. And again, my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your week.